Hey guys, this is Dodoid. So what's worse than a Nokia N-Gage? Not much, but this is. This is a Sudoku console. Yeah, it only plays Sudoku. And, as you can tell, it's very clearly, at least the case design, is a ripoff of the Nokia N-Gage, also known as the taco phone. Now, I don't know how to play Sudoku, but when I found this in a thrift store, it was so cheap, and I think I still managed to get it for about 75% off, that I just had to have this terrible piece of garbage. Anyway, by far the most amusing part of this is that, despite it being pretty much completely irrelevant to the game of Sudoku, to my understanding at least, this does have sound effects. Yep, you're gonna be hearing a lot of that sort of thing. You can turn them off with this button up here, and then it won't make any sounds, but then I still don't know how to play Sudoku, so really the only fun way is with sounds on. Interestingly, when you push the sound button to turn off sound, it makes a sound. Now there's no sound. When you push the sound button to turn on the sound, it doesn't make a sound. And now there's sound. As you can see, that's needlessly confusing. Anyway, I don't know how to play Sudoku. It's not as if this plays anything else, so let's take it apart. As you can see, this thing was originally priced at $2.99 at the Salvation Army, but I think they were happy to take, if I remember correctly, 79 cents I had in my pocket. So, they didn't want this. Maybe I shouldn't have either. Anyway, let's take the screws out. I've never taken this thing apart before. I'm not totally sure of how you're meant to. This is probably the least useful video I've ever done where I disassemble something. Does that come apart? Surprisingly, yes. Okay, what's in here? It's inside this beast of a machine. Alright, so there's the battery compartment, the speaker, connected by some surprisingly thin wires. There's a very, very strange looking PCB. That's kind of odd, the way the traces... See, this one goes right up to the edge. It's kind of interesting. Alright, well... Alright, so what's on the other side of this board? Interestingly, it does seem to use mostly the same sorts of screws. Maybe two types. Some other companies could learn from that. Didn't think I'd be saying that about a knockoff Nokia N-Gage that only plays Sudoku. So I'm expecting that the insides of this are probably just going to be a little glop top. Maybe some button contacts built onto the PCB. That'd be my guess. I can't imagine it's exactly hard to run one of these things. Be interesting to see if there's anything that's obviously there to do the sound effects, because that's probably the most technically impressive, if you can even say that, part of this entire unit. It's probably all just under some epoxy, though. There's a surprising number of screws inside this thing. Alright, what is this? Alright, so the LCD is... What? Oh! Are those... Well, that's really bizarre. It looks like the contacts for the LCD are in these strange strips, and then these press onto it. That's really odd. I've never seen that before. Alright, that's somebody out there is probably going to tell me that's common, but I've never seen that. It actually makes disassembly kind of easy, because now you can just take the screen out. So, what's on here then? Like I suspected, it's a glop top, kind of a big glop top. Can't exactly speak for what that does. Looks like a pretty simple PCB design. I can't imagine this thing being more than 2-layer. In fact, the back layer, I mean, look at how simple this is. It's really should only count for 1.5. And, yeah, typical cheap handheld construction. Buttons are these nasty-feeling little rubber things that press onto these contacts built onto the same board as the chip. Nothing really surprising in here, apart from this. This is interesting. Alright, so we'll put this in here. So I'm beginning to wonder if the reason it needed all those screws was so that it could do that strange, sort of pressure connection to the LCD. I don't know what to call that thing. I wonder if maybe it needed all of those to align itself properly and then create enough pressure, which would explain why it has so many screws in this tiny, cheap little device. I mean, it's not like it's ruggedized or something. It's very, very strange. I'm sure one of you has seen this construction before, but I certainly haven't. Then again, the things of this size that I'm used to taking it apart are generally very slightly more expensive than this probably was. For all I know, this thing will break while I'm taking it apart, and then it'll turn out that somebody's actually considers this thing really valuable, and it'll be like Ashen's in the Quest for the Game Child or something. See, nowadays, this is the sort of device you might expect to get from AliExpress or, you know, as a promotional item or something like that. Oh, no, it still works. This is the sort of thing you might expect to get as a promotional item or off AliExpress or something. Oh, it works. Yeah, it does work. But I wouldn't have been surprised if back in the day this actually came from, you know, a retail store you've heard of, or, you know, one of those sketchy shopping catalogs, Hammacher Schlemmer or something like that, because I think I remember these Sudoku machines kind of being a thing, although I've certainly never seen one that looks like a Nokia N-Gage. Not exactly the same target market, is it? Sudoku players and people who want to buy a Nokia N-Gage. Then again, people who want to buy a Nokia N-Gage doesn't really overlap with anything else, given that there are none. Probably using too small of a screwdriver head for these screws. I don't really care on a device such as this. There we go. And if you did enjoy the video, though I'm not sure why you would have, please do make sure to subscribe, as we're still a very, very small channel and it does help us grow. And until next time, bye.